accommodate.
Thank you. Thank you for being there. Okay, we are going to move to the next item is agenda approval. Do I have a motion for approving the agenda for today?
That motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all those that approve say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed say nay. Motion is passed and agenda is approved. Next, we have public comment, but I do not see anybody here for public comment. So we will move on to the approval of the minutes dated October 15th. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
And
I'll second.
great. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion or minutes from October 15th are approved. And next, council member liaison report. And
Oh, I'm so sorry. Good morning. I'm going to keep my comments really, really short. This is the time of the year when the council is looking at the budget and things. And one of the things that I want to make sure that's top of mind is, revenues are always going to be a challenge for the city. And as you work through your top 10 recommendations, just what are the things that are most important to your business? If we have to make choices in funding things or not funding things, keep that top of mind. And the other thing I want to encourage is that you, the commissioners, have the most influence over policy setting that's done by the council. And, culmination is SR 18. It's taken us 11 years, but it all started here. And then it went on to the Chamber of Commerce came alongside and supported that. Affordable housing started here. Those discussions, helping businesses in their toughest of days started here. So whatever you put on there has a big impact on what you see. And in front of you, you've got the strategic plan, and this came through the council, but don't let this be your only point of reference. Make sure that we understand and we know what your perspective of business or those that work around you, what can we do as a community to make things impactful? I think that if you look at places like Railroad Park right down here where we have the music at Christmas time, can we do more with it? Look up at the ridge. The splash park is very popular in the summertime. What can we do during the rest of the year to make sure that we activate Center Boulevard? So keep those things top of mind. So it's back to you, and in what you bring forward gives us the vision, and we're there to help carry it out. And the Chamber of Commerce is another partner and all that. So back to you, Paula.
thank you, Councilmember Watton. Next would be the community liaison report. And Nicole, I think that's you.
Mona, is the creative economy further on the agenda, further on down? I don't have it in front of me.
No, it's not really on the agenda.
Did you want me to speak to that?
That would be
Okay.
great.
Well, I'll start with that. So creative economy might be a new program or phrase that you guys have heard for the last couple of years. There's been conversation, and we had a presentation about a creative district, which is a program through the state of Washington. That's a program that we're basically saying, we're not going to go that direction. We're going to go a different direction, and kind of here's why. A creative district is limited to each individual city, and there were some things with it that I I think just didn't really make sense for our city. And I really believe that we had opportunity to partner with the city of North Bend in this arts creative realm. So Mona and I have had some great talks with the city of North Bend, James Henderson and Caitlin, and we are moving forward with them as a partnership to a creative economy in North Bend and Snoqualmie. Both cities have received some funding from the Port of Seattle that will fund this this program. So we're going to be aggressive with our timeline and start reaching out to all of our stakeholders next year, working with a consultant to help us with that process. Mona and I are still kind of learning a lot of what it is, but I think it's a good opportunity for us to partner with what we have and what's creative and artistic and what does that mean. So more to come on that, but that is the direction that we're heading. While I speak of Port of Seattle, so every city gets money from the Port of Seattle based on your population, and then we can apply for grants, and then the city has to match those grants. So we've applied for a grant and received, and the 4 buckets of money that we will be putting this grant funding towards is the creative economy, World Cup marketing. Don't quite know what that looks like, but we'll be working on that. Snoqualmie, and it's for 2 years, for part of 2025 and 2026, the Snoqualmie Winter Lights program, and then helping to boost some of our Twin Peaks marketing or visitor experience. So the kiosk on the boardwalk, on one side is a business directory, on the other side we're going to have some Twin Peaks information. Twin Peaks is definitely, it's something I've had to actually embrace since I've been here at the city, but we get a lot of visitors worldwide throughout the year. February is a big push with the Real Twin Peaks Festival and Twin Peaks Day, which is February 24th. Polly, you're shaking your head. So I think that you might be like me, like we don't quite understand this, but if you build it, they will come, and they come. And then August in the summer. And I think in August, we had about 125 people come from literally around the world. One woman came from, I think, Serbia, and it was her bucket list life dream to come here. And her son had come here to the United States, kind of made his fortune, and was able to bring his mother over, and it was her dream. So we're gonna lean into that real hard and do some things and kind of try to leverage that visitor experience. Also, the Parks Department and we have a vendor are finishing up the holiday lighting downtown. The Center Boulevard was lit last year, and so it's just maintaining that. But they're not mine, but I mean, they're my crew. They do the work for me. I'm not out there hanging lights, but they work really, really hard trying to make our city charming and delightful. The downtown merchants asked last year if we could focus a little bit more on white lights so that it wasn't so holiday-ish, so that we can keep those lights on downtown through February like we do on Center. So I thought that was a good ask and important. So downtown won't be so dark in January and February. The tree lighting event is scheduled for December 6th. That's the biggest event that the city that I put on. It's weather dependent, but we definitely usually get a couple thousand people, residents as well as people from outside the area come to that event. So we have a lot of the fan favorite things coming back. It might snow this year. I don't know. We'll see what's in the weather forecast. And really activating some of the partnerships with the businesses on railroads. So trying to push some of the activities to the other side of the street so that it's a good afternoon, evening for them. And I've extended the hours from 3 to 6 so that we can have a little more daylight. Usually it was from 4 to 6. I think that's kind of my updates, kind of what I'm up to November and December. Any questions?
How's progress on the trail that they're building downtown?
I might need to punt that to Mike. I mean, they're definitely working along. Every morning I drive in, it looks even more, and it's like you can see it happening. It's cool. Mike, do you have an update?
There's an update given last night at the Parks and Public Works Committee, and the clearing is pretty much complete. You'll see them start bringing in the gravel and then start building some of the features along there, the bridges and walkways. So everything's on schedule.
Cool.
How
Looks
long will
great.
that trail be?
I think it's like 1.1 miles.
That's correct. That's great.
Okay.
It's gonna connect the downtown, the first phase?
It's not gonna connect all the way because there's still 4 or 5 houses
Sandy Cove area, yeah.
between Sandy Cove and the end of the trail, but it basically goes from the White House that we acquired and removed down as far as we're gonna go down towards the parkway, so.
Great. Okay, and just to note, Commission Member Adrian Webb has joined us. And next, we will move on to new business. And I believe Mike Chambliss, City Administrator, has a presentation.
I do. That's the button I'm looking for. Good morning. So over the past year, the city council and the public have been working to create a strategic plan. I do believe a few members of the committee were involved in the public portion of the planning or the data acquisition for the strategic plan. Current status of this project is it is paused till January. With the new mayor coming in, the council has paused it. So until the mayor takes the seat and I coordinate with the mayor, I can't tell you where we're going from here. So I'm preparing for that meeting come January, and it'll be to be continued. But the Chair Christina did ask that I present the draft plan, so I'm provided you all with a copy of the draft plan, and I have a presentation about kind of everything we've been through. So basically, the project ran from March to November, and it was kind of divided into 2 phases. Phase 1 was assessment, engagement, and direction setting. And that was when our consultant was out in the community, talking to people, gathering information. They had several focus groups for targeted information. We really wanted to reach the traditionally underrepresented groups in this process. So there were focus groups targeted to address that. And they actually attended some of our bigger events. They were at the Splash Pad grand opening, and I can't remember the other one they were
Big
at.
Truck Day.
Big Truck Day. So two totally different demographics, really. Big Truck Day is for the little guys and young families. Splash Pad really isn't for the real little guys. So lots of data came in, lots of good feedback. And then starting in about August, we moved into phase 2. And what that was a series of council meetings, including a second council retreat this year. Normally, we only do 1 council retreat a year. This year, we did 2. That second retreat was focused just on the strategic plan. The information that was gathered was summarized and presented to council. And then council kind of was guiding the project from there. And oh boy, the lawyers are out. So this is going to be fun. There were several public meetings, including the council had a work session on September 29th. The council had another work session on October 13th. And then we're actually scheduled to adopt it on November 10th. And that's when it was put on hold. In addition to the council meetings, there were also committee meetings where this was presented, where everybody was invited to come and be involved. So at the retreat, the project kickoff at the retreat, we gave them, I think it was an hour or 2 at the first retreat of the year. The council did an exercise to kind of, it was almost like a modified SWOT plan for where they thought stuff was. They did, in coordination with our Polco survey, they had added questions in there to gather data that way. And they also were out in the neighborhoods doing the focus group meetings, et cetera. And they prepared summaries for that. During that section, they interviewed over 200 individuals. They interviewed with human and social service providers as a group, youth representatives as a group, YMCA staff as a group, and ROA, the Ridge Homeowners Association representatives. They also had a business community discussion group, a senior discussion group, downtown discussion group, and then another discussion group involving 10 different human service providers. And then there were two of those public Big Truck Day and Splash Pad. So, and as part of the Polco NCS survey, they got 363 people to participate in that. And that actually really blew them away because that's a really high participation for just general public participating in a survey. And I think they had their own website running during that period too, that anybody could go on. From that, they figured out what the emerging priorities for the community were. It was presented to council. And all this is available on those dates. That if you go to the agenda packets on those dates, you can see all these presentations. They're all on the website. And then council started focus in on kind of the key topics that you see in the draft strategic plan, which were to invest in trusted community relationships, provide responsive and fiscally responsive city services, and proactively increase housing options and economic vitality, the last of which is what this group will be most focused on. And then at that point, once council had the draft kind of locked in, we went back out to the people that we had contacted. Some people asked to be continued engagement. So we went back out to them and said, how did we do? And we received more feedback from that. And that feedback was also given to council before the adoption date. Of that, 18 people re-engaged. 14 were members of the general public, 4 were involved in the stakeholder interviews, and 6 had shared their emails and names and said, please make sure we keep informed. So out of that, and I did talk to the consultant, he said this is typical, but 6 of them had support for the strategic plan. 7 had concerns about infrastructure, traffic, and livability impact concerns. And then others had environmental impact concerns about the growth. Range of option, there was a range of opinions on the economic development. 2 people favored expanding the tourism and wine industries, and 5 others said that the city is relying too heavily on tourism and expressed concerns about the mill site development. 1 wanted more details for strengthening regional partnerships. 2 wanted more specific plans about the city's fiscal challenges. And 1 wanted more explicit connections to the comp plan and other city plans. In general, there was a desire for more detail and lots of great ideas for implementation. So this is really invaluable feedback. So we will be taking this as we move forward. As I said, currently the process is paused, and we will be picking it back up. Well, I will be discussing it with the incoming mayor in January and see where he would like to go from here.
Okay, and do we have any discussion? Anybody have questions or?
No, it sounds like there was great community involvement, and it's really nice to get that kind of feedback. I know how hard it can be to collect that. So it sounds like you guys really worked at it and tried to be everywhere and at all the events. And I think that's really, really good.
The city's currently operating off a strategic plan right now, right? Or no?
We
Is
are-
there a previous one, or did it like kind of dwindle? Oh,
A council member believes there was one somewhere in the past, but we have yet to
Really?
locate it.
huh.
To our knowledge, there has never been one.
So what's been like kind of the guiding principles behind initiatives and priorities?
Comprehensive plan, and then
Okay.
the city council through their budget authority. So ultimately, the tires hit the road with the budget. So if the council budgets money to something, that is their priority, and that's what the work's going to be done on. If the council has a priority yet they don't put funds behind it, we can't work on it because we don't have the funding to work on it.
Maybe I'm conflating then a comprehensive plan, because that sounds familiar. What's the difference between a comprehensive plan and a strategic plan?
Comprehensive plan is the plan over 30 years.
Okay,
A strategic plan is a 1 to 5 year plan for implementing sections of that
30,000
30-year
foot
plan.
view, and then
Correct.
what are we doing this week and next
Right.
year?
And then your budget is your 1 to 2 year work cycle.
You're funding a strategic plan, comprehensive plan, we're not necessarily funding.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
That makes sense.
And our goal was to get the strategic plan in place before next year's budget cycle so that it could guide our budget decisions.
Because this starts theoretically January 1st. What is our budget cycle, I guess I should ask?
Our
Sorry if I'm
budget
asking a
cycle,
dumb question.
it's 2-year budget cycle, and we will begin budgeting probably around May or June of next year,
Are you on a July to July?
the calendar year.
Okay.
So we're heading into a second year of a budget. So
Got it.
it'll be 27, 28.
2026 is already funded.
Correct.
I see. So 2027 to 29,
Correct.
and 2026 is all that planning leading into that cycle. I see.
Correct.
What is the process to orienting the incoming mayor to all the community information that you were able to gather, and what kind of like anticipated changes do you possibly expect?
So probably a lot of that will be occurring after the first of the year, when we have a lot of time. Currently, the incoming mayor is scheduled to meet with each department for 30 minutes on December 8th. And that's a little more in depth than we'll have time to go into on that day. So beginning in January, that's going to be my lift to determine what his priorities are and to provide that to get him up to speed as fast as possible on those
Okay.
items.
Yeah, just more to come.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments or?
Just clarification. So the comprehensive plan, that comes under the Growth Management Act, so it's dictated by the state. The strategic plan is the council's own priorities. And we've had versions of the strategic plan. It's just we have not had a consultant come along and the council in the past through the commissions and the committees have elevated issues, and then the council has decided what are the priorities, and in the past it's been through the community development director that put those together. But it's been a while. I mean, we're talking about 4 or 5 years since something's been done. This is incredibly in depth, but it gives us a roadmap, but it doesn't fill in all the blanks. And that's where we need your help. And, you know, if we're going to do creative economy, what does that look like? The creative district, you know, and especially if it's North Bend to Snoqualmie, that may help define what that looks like that unifies all of us. So anyway, keep that in mind.
So the goal is to have, hopefully, the strategic plan in place before you begin to budget for the next couple of years. That's what I'm guessing.
That was Mayor Ross's goal. I can't speak to the incoming mayor's goals. We haven't met yet.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next, we're gonna move to old business. And we're gonna talk about the Snow Valley Chamber presentation on sustainable funding for tourism that we heard a presentation of last month. And Mona, I think this is your.
Yes, so this is just, we talked about in the last, after hearing the presentation by the Snow Valley Chamber, we talked about coming back at this meeting and doing kind of a follow-up discussion around that. Is that the Civitas is the creative district?
No,
No.
the Civitas is
messed up by
the the funding source ultimately for a DMO.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
funding source would be an assessment on beverages and what, the BIA or TIA?
TIA.
Benefit District.
Something. But we had hoped that the chamber would be presenting to city council, and that's not on the agenda. We weren't able to lock that down. So,
It is on the agenda. We haven't been able to confirm it, but. it's
oh, we
still on
haven't
the
been able
agenda.
to confirm that they will attend. Okay, so
Yes.
more to come. So we're kind of from last month to this month, don't really have much more of an update because we wanted that information to be presented to city council as a whole. Am I right, Mona?
Mhm. Yes, and I think what came out of the last meeting with the commissioners here is that that was going to be a big lift. And so we wanted to talk about it a little more. But with Chair Hudson being gone, and I feel like she's kind of the expert on this. Maybe we just wait and see what the presentation to the council entails and if that moves forward as a work plan item in the coming year. I'm not really sure what else to do at this point.
I'm not either, honestly, but I do think Chair Hudson has a lot of expertise in that. So I think maybe saving
Okay,
it
I will
till,
talk to her ahead of preparing the next agenda for the new year, and we'll figure out, and we'll also wait to see if we get the presentation to the council, and then hopefully we'll have more information to bring to this group.
Can I just say for the next, I'm super ignorant on this subject, and I don't know how others feel about this, but it seems like it's pretty, it's pretty serious, like to impose. It's, from my understanding, a non-governmental tax on something. I don't think it's hotels, maybe beverages. It was pretty unclear to me, but I know the Chamber of Commerce, which I'm a member of, was saying how important, how critical, and how we're hurting and all this stuff. I would like to see some numbers. There's like a lot of adjectives thrown around, but I didn't see like a lot of why it's important. Here are the numbers. Here's what it's going to do. Here's why we need it. And again, I could just be super ignorant to all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
my perspective on it was upset 100% of your customers to maybe get 2% increase in revenue from tourism.
And to do what
It's-
exactly? And we need funding. So it was a lot of adjectives and a lot of appeal, but I don't know. I feel like I need some facts and numbers and why exactly do we need this besides it's important for marketing for some ambiguous tourism thing. If it's beverage, you'll be impacted, right?
I mean, it'll be on our, obviously on our, checkout.
And just like another, 40 cents for a drink, whatever it is. I don't know. And like, what exactly are we, maybe it's a good cause.
A lot of
Maybe.
restaurants do a livable wage tax and customers hate it. So we've
Yes,
never
I hate
done
that.
that. So it's just going to be another tax that a customer gets to see
It's like, what is
that they're going to be upset about. And I think there's got to be other ways than paying some out-of-state company to help us with tourism. Like, there's got to be resources in our community that we could use at a more affordable way that, marketing is so different than it was 10 years ago. Like, why would we pay some out-of-state place? And again, I get like occupancy tax. Like, if we had a bunch of hotels and we know that we're hitting tourists with a hotel tax, like, I get it, but we don't have that. So it's going to be restaurants, it's going to be retail, it's going to be all the things that our community spends money on.
And people will see that and say, is that the government or is that Adrian? Or no one's going to know it's some hired private tax group or I don't know. It's very weird to me. And I need numbers, facts, details, I think, to support something like that. I didn't want to be too detrimental at the last presentation. I was trying to be open-minded, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I sit up here, like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't sit up here if I don't understand it or I need a better explanation.
You're not the only one. That was my
That's-
first intro to it as well.
yeah, mine.
Yeah,
as
I'm trying to be
well.
supportive, but start asking some questions.
No, and it seems like the people who are going to be, or the businesses that are going to be affected are the ones who are already struggling. So it doesn't compute to me. So I think numbers would be very beneficial.
Yeah,
in our
or how it's
discussion.
gonna work. I mean, they said, oh, you can do it all these different ways, but like, okay, but our community, how is it going to work? Like, tell us like what you would say in your ideal, like, oh, we can all figure it out. Well, no, like, what is it? Is it the restaurants have to collect it? Is it the retailers collecting? Is it the ice rink? Like, Are we charging now out-of-state teams that want to come in and play a bunch of money for a tourism tax? Like, tell us how it's going to work. That's because obviously I get that we can tweak it and make it work, but I think our community is a lot different than San Diego. Like, we don't have 17 different hotels, and
Yeah.
we can't just tax tourists through a hotel tax. Like, I don't know. It just, and I don't know. I know the casino won't be involved, right? So then what? Do we get it from Salish? Does it? I mean, the Hotel America or whatever it's called now. I mean, I don't know.
And there's, 6 different state agencies you got to be in compliance with. Department of Revenue, all the different agencies you got to be in compliance with and pays fees to, and have an account for federal agencies, local agencies for B&O. Just another some sort of agency that you have to be in compliance with and get a letter in the mail. It's like Monopoly running the business. You get a letter in the mail and it's like, what do I owe money for now? So
Yeah, I don't know.
that's just my opinion. Just like another thing to be in.
And I think that was Chair Hudson's point. She said it would have been nice to have had more information up front for the Economic Development Commission to be able to review in advance that kind of laid everything out. And then she said, one thing that she mentioned to me that we should be cognizant of for future presentations is we need to be particular on what we're asking you to approve and make it clear ahead of time, because it
minutes,
was
let's do
kind
that,
of like, it was left a little open-ended, like nobody's really sure what we're being asked to do here. So I'll come back and revisit this, and I'll visit with the chamber and see what we can come up with.
Just to be clear, the chamber's driving this, not the city.
Correct.
The city's helping facilitate the conversation.
The chamber asked to make a presentation to the city council, and the mayor requested that the chamber come to the EDC ahead of presenting to the
I see.
council. Yeah.
Councilman Lawton.
And just for context, this is to help backfill because the lodging tax is no longer the size it used to be. It used to be about 120,000 roughly, I think. And then that money would be dispersed between Northwest Railway, as well as the Chamber for promotion of tourism. And so you're absolutely right. This would be a separate way of funding it, whether it's a beverage tax or square footage tax. You can come up with a number of different ways, but then it comes back to the question. And I think, Adrian, with your comments, being on the front lines and trying to implement this, how much more of an impact will it have on your sales? Because ultimately that's what you're trying to drive, is more of an economic benefit back to the community.
Yeah.
Not just from our residents, but outside. And obviously the city's not going to take $120,000 away from some other program that we're funding. It's just, is this a worthwhile program? And it sounds like if you're not ready for it, I'm not sure the council is ready for it.
Did you guys hear the presentation yet at the council meeting? Not
No,
yet.
we have not.
What is it funding? The Railroad Museum or?
It's for
Chamber?
tourism in general, but I'll let Nicole.
So the lodging tax has been
Right.
a funding mechanism, and we used to have the Salish only. Then we had the Salish and Snoqualmie in for a few years. We no longer have the Salish, and we just have Snoqualmie in. The last year that we had both hotel properties, it was about $150,000. This month, we had met and had $30,000 to allocate. So it is significant.
Right.
Different entities in the last several years have applied for funding, but the two, principal recipients of the money have been the chamber and have also been the Northwest Railroad Museum. So it's a significant gap in funding that they have lost. And so Councilmember Watt is correct. That I think is the desire to help get that funding. This endeavor is not just Snoqualmie and it's not just North Bend. It would be both cities. Although I'm not sure if it's a chamber thing, why wouldn't it be all the cities that the chamber represents?
Fall City's not a city though.
This is a good point. You're right.
Snoqualmie
But
Pass. Well,
and the pass is not a
It has to
city.
be-
So yeah. Okay, I get it. Sorry. This is my inside voice coming out. So that,
It did require a significant contribution though from both North Bend and Snoqualmie
correct.
to fund this, right?
Correct. And North Bend has initially said that they will contribute, but only if the city of Snoqualmie contributes. And I am not going to sit here and speak for North Bend. I don't know how much conversation they have had with their council or anybody. But this has just been the direction that we've been given, is to communicate this to a council decision as a whole. So this money would fund Civitas, I think, to do the research for sure, and maybe even to get it implemented. I think there are some questions. I think that we need some more answers to some things.
Yeah, I think last month was a great intro, but I think it was just an intro for most of us. And so we
Correct.
don't really feel educated enough to help make solid decisions.
I'd like to
Yet.
explore like other ways to raise money, whether it's a gala, an event. I mean, there's ways to like come up, I think, creatively rather than just throwing another tax out there.
You
Like,
gotta subsidize the chamber. I mean, if it's drinks, for example, right? And then I don't have to do anything. That's not fair.
well,
And I don't pay anything, but
and who
it's not fair to
knows,
you.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't know.
Whatever the method is, yeah, it seems like it should be very distributed.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get more information and put something together for next commission meeting.
Yes.
Great.
And I guess just to back up, so you said Salish is no longer, and then obviously the casino is not, right? So
That's
it's
correct.
just the only one you have right now is the.
We have this, the Snoqualmie Inn,
Yeah.
and there is a smattering, I don't even know how many, a smattering of Airbnbs that pay
Correct.
into that. You know, some cities have an Airbnb policy where they all pay into it.
Mhm.
And those are mostly cities that have a real heavy tourism,
Yeah.
more than what we have, you know? So, but you know, being transparent, those are conversations that Mona and I are starting to have. Is that something we try to tap into?
And then how did we lose Salish, or what happened with that? Was that?
When the Salish, when the tribe, I'm going to get this wrong, I'll look to these two to help me, but when they became federally recognized, then they were exempt. Nope. Okay. So sorry. See, I said, I need help.
They've been federally recognized for the last 20-something years. The tribe applied to the federal government to place the property in trust, which is a mechanism to make it, it basically places it under trust of the federal government. It's old law, couple 100-year-old law. And then from there, they moved it into reservation status. So we no longer have any jurisdiction over those properties.
That's wild.
And did anyone maybe go to them and say, hey, we lost all this funding because of this?
Would you voluntarily contribute?
Yeah.
I believe that maybe there's been some of that conversation or trying to, and we have encouraged some of our recipients of LTAC funding in the past that maybe they need to have that conversation.
And the tribe
With
does
the
have the
tribe-
grant process
Yeah.
too. So maybe that's how they feel they're giving back.
I think I know the tribe has been helpful with some things for the Railway Museum, you know, so yeah, that has been what we've advised people to do.
It appears we may have 6 Airbnbs in the city.
6?
6.
I should open one. Damn, that's it.
That's it.
Wait, is that just when you do
I
a
just
search?
looked on their website.
Gotta be more than that, really. Nicole's gonna get on her computer. It's legal to have Airbnb in Snoqualmie, right?
We don't regulate them.
Meaning we don't regulate them, we don't get any
Yeah.
B&O taxes or any revenue from
They don't
it.
need a business license.
Correct. And there are some cities that are looking into that at the very least to require
I
them
think a
to
lot of
have
places do
a
that.
business license, which is not an unheard of request.
It's on our list to look into that.
Well, the Ridge probably doesn't allow it, I'd imagine, with the HOA.
They did all appear to be in downtown.
I think it is probably happening on the Ridge.
Under the table, yeah. Well, it's supposed to be, yeah.
That's
anyway.
my impression of some neighbors.
Mm.
So it's not supposed to be, I don't think, in certain
Yeah.
areas, but.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next item was a follow-up to the joint EDC meeting with City of North Bend. And I think we've been talking about determining what our top 10 issues are. Mona, is that your conversation also?
Yes, so we had our meeting in September. We had a bit of a conversation about our top 10 at our last meeting. I think we had talked about coming back with this follow-up joint meeting with the city of North Bend in December. I think that might look more like January at this point. I've talked to James Henderson in North Bend, and he's indicated that their EDC has their meetings like at noon. And so I kind of thought the 8 to 10 worked really well at the interpretive center.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get your feel on maybe the best way to do this is to have each commissioner write what their top 10 is and submit it to the chair to compile to bring back to the EDC.
Sure.
I didn't know what you thought about that, but then I could try to get something for another joint meeting, perhaps at our regularly scheduled meeting in January as a joint meeting with North Bend.
I'd also be willing to do the noon since they
Oh,
moved
okay.
to our meeting time. That would work. for
Yeah,
me, and
would
then
you
don't have
all
to
be
think
willing
about
to
the
do
rest,
that?
But
Whatever.
just to be good partners.
I probably can't do a noon, but I'd try, but I can't.
Can't
promise That
guarantee.
would work.
Commissioner Webb
I guess,
is,
yeah.
you could do noon. Okay. Okay, so I'll mention that to them and maybe we can try to jump onto their meeting, their regularly scheduled meeting. Okay.
May I make a suggestion? Could we go through each of the commissioners and get like your top 3 things that are top of mind and at least get a list started
We could do that.
Yeah.
today? And we'll pull out one of the whiteboards and
Love it.
just
Love it.
write those ideas down
Would you like
because
me
you,
to pull out the whiteboard?
please,
Do that.
Vanna White. This will at least get it started and
I
then
love
you
that.
can go back and add to it and then we can prioritize. But I'm sure everybody's got 3 things that they
What?
have top of mind.
Just really quick, can you, and this might again just be me, and I'm happy to put my ignorance on display for everybody else. The city makes most of its revenues through property tax or sales tax. I assume BNO tax isn't property tax. Do you know by like what percentage of the city revenue comes from versus like sales? Is it like 75-25 or like 49-51?
I think it's 65 to like 72% of the budget.
Okay, just
around
curious.
in there.
Yeah.
I thought-
Sales
yeah, the amount.
tax, for instance, we're talking about public safety sales tax, another add-on of 0.1%, 1/10 of 1%. That'll bring us about $180,000.
Which
in
is
revenue.
maybe a cop with benefits.
Maybe a cop, because just police alone, I believe is 4.5 to 5 million a
Yeah,
year.
a
And
cop with benefits is about 220,000.
And that doesn't include like vehicle and all the logistics and
Right.
yeah, and I know that adds up.
That's
So,
everything. 220 is about everything.
okay, I'm fully, okay.
okay, priorities. Back to you, Chair Paula.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about our top few. I'm gonna let somebody else start with their top 3 as I'm still
Yeah.
determining.
I'll give you my number 1. And knowing that, because it's something I've talked to Rob about housing, it's taking vacant lots in areas we know we can build and allowing people to build, or if the city owns them, if the city could offload them or figure out a path to allowing them to build. I know affordable housing is important, but I also know letting people build market rate housing and the city selling the land for a profit and letting people build market rate housing, especially in downtown, would benefit, one, with the property tax, two, increase density, which increases foot traffic down here. You don't need to tear down trees or redevelop land or run city utilities out to it. It's where there's already city hookups to this stuff. And I know there's a lot of vacant lots around here. So I really think how vacant land and anything that promotes density and walkability within our neighborhoods promotes more foot traffic. And I think it has a snowball effect for downtown locally. And I live down here, so I don't know too much about the ridge, and I know you can't do much up there, but I know there's land here that can be built upon. So I think stuff like that and promoting it and increases property tax.
So are you saying to bring in like incentives for private property owners with vacant properties?
I don't know what the
Maybe-
incentive would be. Yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, I know I live over here by Rooster Valley. There's 4 plots, and I know a gentleman just bought it. You know, whatever it takes, maybe to put housing or commercial mixed use. I know that's what maybe it was mentioned. I know I emailed you because I was looking at the vacant land around downtown and just allowing people to, whether the city or whatever the incentive is for private owners to sell that land or to do something with that land to allow someone to buy a lot in downtown Snoqualmie and build a single family home, which I know a few have actually gone up back here in recent, and actually one's under construction 1 block away. And I think that stuff's great for the city. More housing, more people, more property taxes, more foot traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the city doesn't really have control over private property rights. So
I
for
know there's no,
city-owned property, like, yeah, definitely that is a priority for us. We have a city-owned lot on the ridge that we've been trying to work through how to get an affordable housing or workforce housing project built on that. So, but yeah, definitely we're in support of working with our residents that own vacant properties to have them come in and develop those properties.
and what about you mentioned something about like zone in around the flood ordinance. Could that change development opportunities in town? And I don't know what the trajectory is on that.
So there is some work in progress with King County to come in and do a letter of map revision around the floodplain. And so, yeah, that's coming. But not under our control. That's something King County is doing. So that may change some of the floodplain designations.
Without,
So if I may help, so affordable housing, especially infill housing. So that's one. Do you have 2 more?
no, I'll wait. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Who's next? Nicole.
I'm a
One
person
th-
who likes to put a lot of thought into these things, so I am,
Just
completely
all that
prepared,
we're
but
doing is spitballing.
yeah, housing was definitely my number one as well. I mean, we just have so
Okay.
much of our workforce at the hospital that doesn't live nearby, and that that makes us have to be really, really competitive in other ways. And so it would just be great if more of our workforce could live more locally. So housing was the number one. I think as we're trying to attract and retain our businesses, just making sure that all of our city processes and stuff are very straightforward and there's not a lot of barriers to doing business. That would be another one.
Remove barriers. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that was kind of long-winded. And then also focusing on tourism, I think is really important.
Okay. Tourism. Adrian, Center
Um,
Boulevard.
Yeah, well, my big one is as you guys know, the minimum wage stuff that unincorporated King County has. That obviously, if it spills into our area here, we wouldn't operate. So minimum wage, I guess, or labor costs as a
Yeah,
a huge
labor
concern.
costs. I would second that.
Yeah. What else?
The other thing is too, that it seems like we have very inconsistent signage laws and or access to signage. So I would like to, we've got the Wayfinder ones that are very inconsistent. There's some places that are on there, there's old ones. We've been talking about that, I feel like, for years at this point, but signage, I think with the businesses, we should kind of figure out what we're gonna do with that and make it consistent and fair maybe, but signage, some allowances for certain signage would be great. So, I mean, I know there's very little variance on A-frames. We don't do that at all, just because I know they're not allowed. But some variance with regards to some A-frames as a temporary thing on certain weekends, maybe, and then also something that's a little bit more consistent with wayfinder signs that we can use that are actually visible. So, I mean, we just don't feel like there's. I think like all of our businesses are missing opportunity with like the Parkway and other traffic that goes by. There isn't, in my opinion, a very good signage system that we currently have.
What else? Paula?
I don't know how to frame this in terms of a issue, but the vacancy rate in our businesses and
Oh.
the businesses that are going out or leaving us, that's one of my top concerns.
Mhm.
You know, particularly I know on
Just
Center, it just feels like every day somebody else is leaving, and I don't know why it's so difficult to fill those spaces. I don't know if it's the rent, the cost of doing business. I'm not exactly sure why they've all left.
So commercial or business vacancies then is the concern.
Yes. And I know, sorry, I don't know what's happening with my voice. Um, for us in particular, at Snoking, some of the utility costs are
Oh, gosh.
getting
Oh.
exorbitant, and, you know, we're trying to keep ice frozen, and our,
Mhm.
our, our utility costs have increased in the past year. I don't know how many fold, but a lot of fold.
40% for garbage.
Yeah. And electricity is like,
Yeah.
it's just, that's become huge for us.
Right, if PSE starts jacking up electrical costs because of all the AI.
Like they have. I mean,
crap.
our PSC
They
bill
have.
is outrageous.
Our
yeah.
our PSE is, I
Yes.
want to say tripled in the last year, and I could be off on that, so don't quote me, but it has completely skyrocketed.
I would say continued beautification of city kind of entrances and main avenues. Like I think I live right here, but the nice one-way road over here, gorgeous, but the city built and put in. I mean, there's tourists that walk down that street. They get the beautiful view of the river on that curved street and the view of Mount Si. Just continuing to do stuff like that, I think, really keeps people in town. We have a tiny one-block town, but it gets people walking more and staying for more time. And I don't know who's talked about that, but the longer people stay, the more money they spend in town. So I think just continued beautification of our walkable areas in town.
So that's part of our river walk,
Yeah.
actually. So
I love that.
that's a segment and
Prioritizing that
we
stuff.
just need to, so if that's one of your priorities is make sure that that's top of mind, that's a 20-year process that we're about 10 years into or 15 years into. So
Good stuff is worth the wait.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true too. Yeah.
So could we also put down river walk as, yeah, support of the river.
The
walk
Riverwalk project's going to bring you to the falls too, right? Maybe.
over a bridge.
Yeah.
Get
That,
to
that
the
bridge, I take my kids on that bridge on the bike and it's a little sketchy, but we make it happen. But yeah, if you make it easy for people, they'll go.
I think that the beautification thing is important. We were in Darrington this past week, and Darrington's basically no longer there. The town that used to be a thriving downtown little,
Yeah.
thriving might be a stretch, but there's nothing there anymore. No shops are there. It's just become a residential place, but there are no businesses in the former, and it's ugly. I'm sorry.
Always room for improvement, but might I give a plug for what we are doing that some cities don't do, that I'm proud that we do, flower basket.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cities that's been cut from a budget, the holiday lighting.
Yeah.
was that budget, so I think there's some things that we are.
I think we do a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That I think there's always room for improvement, that I just know, I come from a city where I live that those things aren't done.
Yeah.
And
think we do a great job.
Yeah.
Our parks are clean.
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's,
I think we all
that's what
agree.
we're saying is.
I said continuation.
Let's continue it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh,
No,
the
it's
broken
true.
windows or whatever. it's called.
Yeah. And it is true. And it is that, I think your intention, I might be speaking out of turn here, but is just to continue that because we are doing a good job.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
What about transportation, parking, are any of those issues? How people get around in the city, how employees get there, how guests get there, parking?
I think all of that is important. I think the challenge is the thing that I see as our biggest issue is a budget shortfall, and we haven't attracted enough businesses. We haven't found a way to kind of fill the commercial space, because then that drives tax revenue and then it fixes everything, right? So I think our budget and our lack of, the tax revenue we've lost, to me, is significant. Like, obviously we talked about the industrial area, obviously a lot of the businesses on Center, a few of them downtown. It just, that I think is the biggest issue, is how do we drive more tax revenue? Like, that's obviously the tourism thing. Like, it's all about how to drive more revenue, because then that obviously fixes the transportation, all the other things we'd actually have, maybe budget to then be able to work on these initiatives. So I think the biggest thing is, how do we either find ways to, like you said, lower barriers for business entry, or tax credits, or whatever we can do to fill the industrial spaces and the commercial spots that we have, to then drive tax revenue, because that would obviously help continue to fund the initiatives that we need to see.
My only thing with the taxes is I don't think I pay that much in taxes to the city of Snoqualmie. Like, my B&O tax isn't that
Mine's like $5,000 a month. That's a lot.
for B&O tax? Sales tax.
No, the B&O's portion of it.
I don't
That's
think
sales
I'm doing
tax.
my math wrong. It's only like a few $100 a quarter.
I
So
know.
I wonder
Our
about the
gross
impact.
sales though, or,
What's that?
300,000 a month. I mean, our gross sales are,
So that's sales tax then.
we pay the B&O separate from the sales tax. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all based
so
on
do
our
we.
gross sales though.
I wonder if my math wrong.
Maybe it's calculated different based on your business.
Industry, yeah, maybe that's it. Could be.
I just, I don't know. Just, it was,
That seems really high.
I know.
I
Does.
just want to remind everybody that Commissioner Gibson is online and she may have something to add.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
Nicole, with the beautification of downtown, I know the city can only do so much, right? And our part looks great, but like policing, maybe private property owners in some spots. I don't know if things become in disrepair. How to work with the train museum? Like, how do you partner with the train? Hey, what are you doing on your? I don't know who actually even owns the property. Does the city own the train property, or do we own it?
The park itself,
Yeah.
not the rail. The rail that's owned by the museum.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, just how do you, private, what code enforcement? That's the technical term.
Going back to Adrian's comments, we have Mona, who does an amazing job in community development, but the other part that we have is economic development to that. She cannot wear both hats really effectively because she's got so much on her plate.
Yeah.
And the question is that something that the city should pursue more? Is economic development, recruiting businesses, or is that more of a chamber function of recruiting businesses? Either way, where does that fit in your perspective as to help grow your businesses, grow the economy? Because we as a council get to decide where to fund things, and it may not happen in a year's time, but it could happen in the next biennium.
I mean, I assume there's not any function currently for recruiting businesses. Is that anything that's even on the radar?
I would say having information available.
And I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying that's probably something that we could start with.
I-
that. I'll call people to try and get them to open a business.
I'm looking at this list of things we need to talk about in the future. I don't want to get into a protracted discussion today. What I can say is I believe we are doing the basic things the city can do in order to remove obstacles and recruit businesses.
Yeah.
So are we actually going to Las Vegas to the retail shows and showcasing the city? No, we're not at that level. But when people call, they move pretty much to the head of the line to get their questions answered
Yeah.
in a rapid fashion. And we do try to be as flexible and as efficient and quickly as possible to get things going.
I'm not familiar with all the pages on the city's website. So if this is already somewhere out there, please excuse me. More familiar with like hospitals, but if we're like, hey, do you want to make an appointment? So, or find a new provider. So is there any information on the website that says interested in opening a business and then has some information there about, I don't know, where they could find, space rentals or who to contact at the city, just like an informational sheet? I feel like that
I'm-
could be something low maintenance.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm currently working on what I would call a business welcome packet. So
Oh,
if
great.
anybody came into the city and was interested in
Yeah.
opening a business, this would be kind of like a 2 or 3 page document that would kind of give them some helpful hints on how to get started. You know, we offer a free pre-application meeting, for example, to just, and we'll get people in, and we really prioritize getting new businesses.
I think that's great.
into
And I
the
think
city,
it would be
so.
great if it lived as like an online PDF someone could download and it had a paragraph about the free pre-application meeting. Just like a little informational page that people could easily find about how to work with the city could be really helpful.
Yeah, I should have that done by the end of the year, and I will have that on our website, that to the next meeting,
Yeah.
share with everybody too.
Just a little less work for you if they want to peruse the website at night and not have to do it during business hours or whatnot.
I'll say we work across 12. I have 12 city business licenses. This is the easiest one to just walk in, talk to somebody, do something online, send an email, call. They pick up the phone. Basics. Email back, call me back, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Out of all the cities I work with, this is and even against North Bend, by far the easiest city to work with. Permit stuff's online.
Good.
Don't let John Cooper retire.
So to finish things out, you almost have 10, but it sounds like there's might be some interest in economic development or elevating economic development and what that might look
Well,
like.
look at like Redmond, right? SpaceX is there. And then all their little suppliers and satellite companies come and fill the warehouses and business parks around it. And it's like, the city can only do so much, I mean, in attracting stuff and convincing someone like, I don't know, a decent sized corporation to land here with their little suppliers. It's like, how do you get almost like an anchor and their suppliers in here or become known as, Redmond's becoming a little space hub. They got, what's the Amazon one, like Jupiter or something like that is out there too. Like, how does the city attract that? I don't know if the city can even do that or has the responsibility to do that. But it's like all you really need is like one decent anchor. And it's like, oh, look at that company's out there. I should go look at, the talents there and stuff like that. It attracts talent. And it's kind of like a snowball.
They're known as industry clusters, and
There
they're
you go.
kind of encouraged by the state through GMA in a small sense.
By what?
In a small sense.
Oh.
But, is that something that we should put more emphasis on?
I know we had T-Mobile, they, I guess with 18, they had kind of stopped using their space here. They still have the office up there or no?
I think 18 affected quite a few of those businesses in the business park. So maybe transportation should be on that, or transportation, or I guess roads are included in transportation. Because you can't get people here if we don't have.
I remember Mayor Ross at one point talked about like audits of like business licenses or something like that.
There's been discussion in the past of having a revenue officer that would go through and make sure that, things that are already on the books are being enforced, I guess. Mike, did we ever fund that?
It was funded for a period of time under the previous finance director. That funding expired. you know, our finance department is very busy. They had 5 state audits this year to clear out the backlog, the COVID backlog that the state had in audits. So we're now caught up. So part of my work plan for 2026 is to be able to work on some of those other things that suffered because we went through 5 audit. We were in a continual audit the entire
That
year.
sounds fun.
Okay, well, if we have a list of 10.
You-
That's a place to start.
I think I would like to add the welcome packet for new businesses to that
Mhm.
list,
Yeah.
because I think that's important, and I think that would be something that would be good to talk about with North Bend.
I feel like it goes a bit with
agree.
number 2,
Mhm.
just to make sure the information's easy to find, they know what's expected, et cetera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think economic development should be on the list as well. I agree, Rob. We are the Economic Development Commission after all.
Yeah. I
See-
guess I kind of
All these are
figured
economic
all of these
development.
were
Yes,
about
I agree.
economic development, but yes, if we point it out.
So I guess the next step would be to take these are not prioritized, and send it out to the commission members and have them say what the top 3 are, and you get 3 points for number 1, 2 points for number 2, and then 1 point for number 3, and then go through and prioritize, and then come back and take a look at it one more time and make sure that it kind of makes sense as your
Add one more on
priorities.
this too, just,
Yeah.
I think as a cursory one, so safety and maintaining our police department, like I think Snoqualmie, to our police department and figure out how we can do that if there is any shortfalls there. But I think obviously having safety drives a lot of initiative.
So some of these are obviously specific. How specific do you think they should be? Like housing that's a big hairy one, whereas a welcome packet, that's pretty specific.
Riverwalk could be beautification.
Right. Yeah,
Then picking 3 is not so hard. Picking 3 will be hard.
but then like if say housing's number 1, well, what does that even mean? You know, then there's like a lot of facets to that.
Yeah.
So I think you could do like workforce housing, and then,
Yeah.
IE or whatever, infill, ADUs, whatever it might be, and be a little more specific, but have a title, economic development. What does it look like? It's welcome packets. It's that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Like engage ROA for ADUs. That's a great idea. Whoever came up with that idea, I don't know. And that's like that is something specific. That could be a goal, right? That's like increased housing isn't really a goal. That's 2.
It's a bucket.
It's a bucket, yeah. But then here's a bunch of things that are very specific.
But I think if these were our priorities, then we'd find those like more.
How do you, the bullet points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To get to the specifics, we started there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you'll get there.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll take this list. And if that can get sent to us,
Yes,
And
I will
then
send it to all the commissioners.
if we come to our next meeting with our rankings individually for top 3, and you could probably come with additional if you have some.
Is that for the December meeting?
Do we have a meeting in December?
We do not have a meeting in December, so that does bring us up to a good point. I mean, would we want to wait and ask North Bend to have a joint meeting in February? And come back to the table for our top priorities in January?
I think so. I think my vote would be that we need to figure out what we want before we meet with North Bend.
And I think they need to have their list too, and then we'll see where we have overlap and we could collaborate. That's the goal, right?
Maybe we send them this and be like, this is what we came up with.
Yeah.
Once we refine it,
Sure.
that's what I would say. So let's bring our prioritization to our January meeting here. Does that sound good?
That sounds good to me.
Okay,
Okay, I'll coordinate with North Bend.
great.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was a good start. Future agenda topics. I'm not sure. Do we, this is a future agenda topic. I think
I
that's
think we
good
just
enough.
went through that exercise.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And then also the chamber's proposal for the additional taxing.
Oh, right.
future agenda.
Yes, and that's on there too for future agenda. As well as this for a future agenda once we know where it's going.
Do you think it would be reasonable to have the new mayor come to the next January meeting, I guess, and
I
hear
would
what,
expect that.
yeah, cool.
This is my ignorance. Does anything happen to this commission with a new mayor?
Fired.
Well, I know a lot of
Sorry.
times
Funny.
that happens. Everybody has to resign or quit and
No one
everything
has
new
to
is formed.
resign. I have 30 years experience in government. So it kind of ranges from some new mayors will allow people to serve out their terms before they replace people. Some new mayors come in and interview everybody and then make decisions based upon those interviews. There is no set formula. And once again, I have yet to sit down and meet with him, so I don't know
Okay.
what he wishes to do.
So we don't know yet. So hopefully we'll have a January meeting.
You will have a January meeting.
All right. Well, I think we have our agenda items for our next meeting. Is there anything else we need to discuss today? I think we're good. Then meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Everybody's got more time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.